One.
Hello, everybody. Happy Football Friday. Welcome to the RP Show. We're coming at you live from beautiful and hot South Florida, ready to talk sports for the next 2 hours. You got me here. Over on the other side, you've got Darren Moose DuPont. He, again, is in an undisclosed location, different from yesterday. It looks like a broom closet. So, Moose, before I go any further, jumping into sports and getting everybody's favorite daytime sports talk show on the air, do you want to tell everybody where you are or just continue to leave it up to chance?
Yeah, I say let's leave it up to chance.
Okay,
It's more fun that way. Let people guess.
Wherever you, people, let's start. Guess where Moose is broadcasting from here today. I'm in my usual spot, South Florida, ready for the weekend, ready to talk football, and we welcome everybody to the program today. Thanks for those listening on the podcast right now, later in the day, WQEE Radio, of course, in Atlanta, where we are, Atlanta's NHL show. And I've realized, because I'm getting some mail from people in the state of Georgia, they're saying we love the show because it's different. Are you okay, Moose, with being characterized as different? Have you ever been? Yeah, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Stephen in North Dakota thinks you're in Winnipeg. He says where you are looks very Winnipegish. Do you want to say yes or no?
Yeah, I'll say no to Winnipeg. Although some people still thought I was in Florida. I don't know how they would still think that, but.
Okay, good stuff. And by the way, I don't know why. We discovered something yesterday while John Ohm was on suspension. We discovered, John Ohm, that this gong is not coming over the air. Is it today? Did you hear it, Moose? Did you hear the gong?
Barely.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but I'm not the tech guy. I am the guy that talks into the microphone. And listen, it is a Football Friday. When I read Bob Costas's book way back in the day, I want to say it was in the 90s, he talked about growing up in St. Louis. And there was a radio station there called KMOX. And they were the voice of the Cardinals, and they were the voice of the Blues. But they were a news station. And there was only 1 hour a week that they talked Cardinals baseball outside of the games. And it was Monday night. And he said it was so special. He said, now, in the world of sports talk and 24-hour sports networks and sports radio, it's not special anymore. But that 1 hour a week on KMOX of Cardinals baseball talk was so special. And that's kind of what we've got going on here with Football Fridays. So outside of this warm-up where we are right now, it'll be all football. But we're going to talk about the other sports, and cognizant of the fact that we are different, I'll just say the number one point in my life right now is the fact that Kitchener, Ontario's Jamal Murray scored 26 points and added 10 assists in his NBA Finals debut as the Denver Nuggets took Game 1 of the championship series, 104-93 over the Miami Heat. Two-time MVP Nikola Jokic had 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists to become the second player to produce a triple-double in his Finals debut. Proving that we're different, we're not going to talk anymore about the NBA Finals other than to say, I'm not even sure, Moose, that I'm saying Nikola correct, but I dated a girl in Prince Albert named Nikola. And she was a fantastic gal. I loved her. Real beautiful. So it's always Nikola to me, Nikola Jokic. Am I saying that correctly?
You know what? I'm not going to be the guy to correct you. I don't know if that's right or not. Nikola Jokic, I don't know.
Are you saying we're not NBA guys? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Ask me how to pronounce Nishkinen, and I can do that, but I can't pronounce Jokic.
My 20th birthday at a bar, you people in Prince Albert, tell me if I have this right. There was a bar on 2nd Avenue North. I want to say it was Charlie's. And in front of the whole bar, my 20th birthday, she put a song on the stereo. She asked the DJ to cue it up. She put me in the chair on the middle of the dance floor and did a striptease on me in front of the whole bar. It was awesome.
That is
but
awesome.
The relationship didn't last. Figure that one out. I don't know why, but that happened in Prince Albert when I was 20. Okay, moving on. I'm not getting to the comments yet. We got 2 hours to get to your comments. Now's not the time. Everybody's like a bucking horse trying to get out of the stall right now with their comment. Chill. Because you're going to love this one, Moose. The Stanley Cup Final. Get a lot of talk of that in my world, of course. I got my Panthers gear on today and this morning in the gym. I'm the hockey guy, right? I'm the hockey guy in our circle. And so everybody's like, Rod, what's going to happen in the Stanley Cup? What's going to happen in the Stanley Cup? And I said, well, I've picked Vegas to win. And they all go, and I said, because every time I pick the Panthers to lose, they win. So I'm picking them to lose the Stanley Cup final in 6. They're like, thank you, Rod. Thank you, Rod. So if the Panthers win the Stanley Cup, you're welcome. Now, beyond all that, as I was surfing the interweb this morning, well, I said, again, this is how we're different than all the other stuffy, puffed up shows that want to tell you how smart they are. We just have fun here. So at yahoo.ca, from the writer Nick Ashbourne, Moose, from Yahoo Canada, a hater's guide to the Stanley Cup final. Are you ready for this? It's like if you have no other reason to follow a Stanley Cup, if you want to be a hater, here's what you can hate on with this Stanley Cup final. Number one, Vegas cheated with Mark Stone's injury to get into the playoffs, adding $7.25 million to their payroll that wasn't there before when he was hurt. They said, we're not saying anything. We're just saying anything. We're just saying something. Number two, the Panthers don't deserve to be there in the Stanley Cup final because they didn't get into the playoffs till the final weekend. There's that. Sam Bennett and Alex Pietrangelo are dirty and shouldn't be playing. This guy, he nailed it.
Yeah.
And he says the Golden Knights social media team is cringy. So if you want to hate on somebody, hate on the Golden Knights social media team. I think that is absolutely hilarious. And there's more. But I mean, I don't want to be a hater. I was actually going to get to this later on in the thing. You see Ryan Whitney's hating all over the NHL for the show, the patches and the ESPN's coverage and this. And I said to Serena, I don't want to be the hater. I don't want to do that. I want to be nice and get along and not bitch. And she goes, well, that's the Spittin' Chicklets brand. That's Whitney's brand, is to bitch and pick a side and start controversy. So that's him.
Yeah.
But I guess if you have no other reason, these are my two favorite teams in the Stanley Cup final. So it's pretty easy for me. But what do you think about this hater's guide to the Stanley Cup final? Bravo, Nick Ashbourne of Yahoo Canada. I think it's amazing.
I think it's funny. It gives you something to, enjoy and read and have some fun with. And I think it is fun. I mean, I like the Pietrangelo and Sam Bennett are dirty, so let's not like them. But that's a wash, right, on either side. So it's fun. I think that's a lot of fun. I like it.
Yeah, I DM'd him, and I don't know if he's written me back. Probably won't write me back at all. Now, there's another thing. Before we go any further, what do you keep looking up there? You're freaking me out.
I know. You're up there. That's why.
Look in the camera. You're freaking us all out, Moose. Look in the camera. I'll try not to do anything too goofy here.
All right.
902-518-3033 is the number to text us in the South Florida studio. Old school here. By the way, Steven in North Dakota won the Rock Star of the Day yesterday. Yes, Steven, you won it primarily because John Ohm wasn't here. He was suspended. So you win it, Steven. We'll be in touch with your prize. But we don't have a poll question today. Moose and I were on the phone this morning. Believe it or not, we didn't talk about what the poll question would be. So back in the day when we were in the bunker, we would quite often say to the audience, what do you think would be a good poll question today? And I think they really liked it. This being the most interactive show on television, radio, and streaming. Let's go back to that. The poll is brought to you daily by Key Auto Group. Get new or pre-owned vehicle. Get a new or pre-owned vehicle that fits you at Key Auto Group. They will treat you right every time. And it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca. Off the top of my head, what could be good poll questions? It is a Football Friday. Do we want to go? Honestly, the one thing that came to my mind was, who's the outstanding performer? Who's Murray's monster of the CFL preseason? But we're not done it yet. And we're going to get to the CFL preseason in a second. But that's one. Maybe we could do that on Monday. Yeah. Two, we could say we've done who's going to win the Stanley Cup. How long is the series going to go? We've done that. NBA Finals, our audience doesn't care. Does anything pop into your head, Moose?
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, we could start going through. I mean, it's Saturday already, or like it's Friday. The game starts Saturday. I was going to say we could go through those position groups in the Stanley Cup. Who has the coaching edge in the Cup final? Who has? You can always pick. Football. Sure. I don't know.
Well, start spreading the news. Tell your friends, everybody. We're live on WQE right now, streaming. and, of course, podcast. Kevin the Medium has entered the chat, our sales coordinator, and he's jumped ahead of the queue, but he's got a good point. We'll allow it. He says, LL Cool J opening concert for the BC Lions. Wowza. John Ohm says, how about who's going to be the first CFL coach to be fired? We want to go down that road. Keep them coming. I'm going to continue with my points here because we're going to get all the quick 6 points out of the way, and then it's going to be ball for all the rest of the way because I know that's why so many of you came here today. But I'm kind of thinking entertainment. Will we dabble into the entertainment world? People like that.
Yeah.
Who would you like to perform at your season opener? Kim Mitchell? LL Cool J? Who the Alouettes got?
Oh, man.
Is it Stone Temple Pilots or Theory of a Dead Man or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm not a rock guy. I'm not a rock guy. And by the way, I feel country music has no place in a hockey arena and not really much place in a football stadium either. I'm sorry. Don't at me. And I'm a country music guy. So we'll massage this a little. Point 3, place line, Kamloops, BC. J.R. Avon scored the game-winning goal, 10:54 into overtime to cap Peterborough's 5-4 comeback win over the Kamloops Blazers on Thursday night, earning a semifinal berth at the Memorial Cup. The Pete scored 4 unanswered goals to take the tiebreaker game, roaring back from a 4-1 deficit. It sets up the semifinal tonight in the Sandman Center in Kamloops, Seattle versus Peterborough. You were right, Moose. Bravo. You were 3-1 last week in the CFL Pick'em. You nailed that, and you're not putting any thought into this or prep. That's the part that ticks me off the most.
How do you know? No, you know I'm not. Especially CFL preseason picks. It's just FMA. But with the game last night, that's a tough one for Kamloops. I hate that I was right in that game. I watched it. I feel bad for them. I saw the fans were crying. The players were upset. That's tough because you thought you were going to get another game against Seattle. You were doing everything right. That's a tough one to give up 4 goals like that.
John Ohm says it looks like you're in an isolation camp. Is he right?
Almost. Getting warmer.
We got to stop because it's not the John Ohm show. But the thing is, he brings the sizzle all the. He brings the good stuff. He says Twisted Sister gets to perform. Sorry, get to Winnipeg to perform at the football game. Oh, so you're not saying they are playing. You'd like to see Twisted Sister. Okay, I need to stop. I need to bring it all back in. It's our show here.
Yeah.
So I'll just finish up on these points. I'm not going to go any more down the Memorial Cup. We talked about it all week. And it seems like not enough people care about it, but it's Football Friday. Point 4, Toronto Blue Jays righty Kevin Gausman is in form. Gausman pitched 6.5 shutout innings to win back-to-back starts for the first time this year. And the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Milwaukee Brewers 3-1 on Thursday night. Gausman struck out 11, giving him 100 on the season and reclaiming the American League lead from Angels righty Shohei Ohtani. I watched the game with the Golden Girl yesterday. She pointed out that Bo Bichette is leading the American League in hits. Gausman's leading the American League in strikeouts. Bob Gironka. And now we're going into New York to have our way with the Mets, we being the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, if anybody has any comments on the rest of this, the rest of the way, fire them at us, 902-518-3033. Let's have some fun. It's Friday, as advertised. It's a Football Friday, and we got through 4 points. You'd think we're brought to you by Sheridan. Anybody get that one? 4 Point Sheridan.
Yeah.
Our text line's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Anybody tell you that, Kevin the Medium, our sales coordinator? Anybody tell you that? Are you texting him right now to tell him that our text line's brought to you by Progressive Insurance?
Exactly.
Okay. CFL, here are the results from Thursday night. Place line, Vancouver. Kieran Burnham kicked the game winner as the BC Lions survived a second-half comeback From the Calgary Stampeders to win 25-22 at BC Place Thursday night, Vernon Adams Jr. threw for 213 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half, but the offensive output dried up in the second half as backup quarterbacks Dane Evans and Dom Davis failed to establish a rhythm. For those that don't know and have been living in a cave, Vernon Adams earned the starting quarterback role for the Lions after Canadian Nathan Rourke departed for the National Football League. And just up the road here in Jacksonville. And place line Guelph, 0.6. Quarterbacks Kyrie Adams and Dustin Crum both threw touchdown passes and ran for another to lead the Ottawa Red Blacks past the Toronto Argonauts 34-23 in CFL preseason play Thursday night at Alumni Stadium. Ottawa finished the preseason at 1-1. The Argos finished 0-2. The game attendance was not announced. I watched the stream at CFL.ca, and again, I thought it was magnifico. I thought it was great. My bad. I thought the game was at BMO Field. It's not following it closely enough, but I'm following it closely enough to watch the game at Guelph. It'll look fine. And last thing, Moose, before you can talk about whatever you want, everybody is, not everybody, but a lot of people are DMing me, writing me, texting me, bitching, because everybody's got a bitch, that at the CFL website, you can't get a box score, you can't get this, you can't go back and get highlights. And I don't know. Why are you talking to me? Really, why are you talking to me? I'm only allowing it because I'm allowing it. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not allowing it because I'm not the CFL guy. What I do know is the CFL does an unbelievable job with the stats package. I got all the stats right here. They email it every night to me after every game.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, maybe that's why they're writing me. I just talked myself into realizing why, Darren. But I guess I'm not a tech guy. Can you put that on the 17th floor of my tombstone when I die? He wasn't a tech guy. I don't know how or why they send me an awesome box score, completely detailed stats package, but can't put it on their own website. I don't know. Your thoughts, please. And that's not a bitch, by the way. I'm just saying it's not my department.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's interesting. Like, you'd like to see them have the system that integrates with everything else, and that's a big puzzler for me. I've never had the conversations with the CFL, and there's probably reasons. They have their own proprietary, website and things like that. But I notice it on the app I use. Like, I use the Score app, as do you, and millions of other people. And the live in-game stats don't translate over to the app. But I can go to the CFL's website or the CFL or the TSN app, and I can find the live stats. TSN's populating them throughout the game. But for whatever reason, it's not the same system that can connect easily with the Score app. So, that's frustrating for fans because we don't want, as fans, to search for info. We want it given to us. And for you, it works. You get those stats driven right to your email. It's perfect. It's right in your lap. And they're continuing to evolve. And I'll just tell you, the fans that are frustrated, I know it sucks, but they will get there eventually.
Well, as you know, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Totally not complaining. The CFL has a struggle. It's a small staff. There's not a lot of resources there. They struggled on that first Monday, Victoria Day. I understand the stream of Edmonton, Calgary. I didn't watch it. But by the time I logged in 5 days later to watch the Riders and Lions, it was great. I was willing to give them a day or two to work the kinks out because we get it. But the public doesn't. So my guess is they're working on the stats. I'd like to think so. The viewership is going up because they know it's a Football Friday. We got lots to get to today. John in Winnipeg says, I'm loving Dupe's CFL Players Association shirt. I have the hat. Darren, if I'd known, I would have coordinated.
Well, I kind of wondered if you might. Like, sometimes it's just random that we end up wearing the same thing. I knew there would be a chance, but it's good you went with Florida today.
It's my last opportunity before the Stanley Cup Final to show my allegiances, and I'm thinking of going to the watch party Saturday night at FLA Live Arena. I might even pay $10 cash to get in. From the audience, Rowan Fisher writes in. Rowan's here every day and says, oh, gross, football. Don't be that guy. If you don't like it, please turn it off. I encourage you to turn it off. Randy from Winnipeg. He says, I've seen the highlights of the CFL games. Where were they played? One game had 200 fans. The other had no seats. Well, Guelph. We talked about that earlier. And I got a story about that place. We played there. We are getting on in years, Moose. It was 2007, I believe. What year did Ken Austin coach the Saskatchewan? Wasn't it 2007?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I think it was 2013. That's what it was. Ken Austin was coaching the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Okay.
And Tim Hortons Field was being built. And obviously, Corey Chandlin was coaching our team. It was a torrential monsoon, at Guelph that night. And so it's a university stadium, Canadian University Stadium. It's not large. It looked good from what I saw. The one whole side grandstand was filled in. Again, people are looking and nitpicking for reasons to piss and moan about the Canadian Football League. From Alex says, then Rowan, change the channel. LOL. Rowan, Shangay La Canal. Trust me, the hosts will be entertaining. The hosts, no matter what we talk about. Leanne writes in, not your Leanne, it's another. She says, Argo's new unis are fantastic, especially the helmets. I feel like this is, I know, and I'm with you, Leanne. It's a powder blue, a baby blue. Man, that's helmet.
Yeah.
I got to say, I think they've usurped the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the top uniform of the Canadian Football League. And literally came out of nowhere. They didn't really tease that these jerseys were coming. I know that the fans get really geeked up. And by the way, the players get geeked up about it too. They really do. I often say the players don't care about this, players don't care about that. In a lot of ways, they don't. Like the schedule, they don't care about. But the uniforms, they do. I remember the day when the Riders come busting out of the locker room in the tunnel wearing the all-black uniforms. And a certain amount of us knew that it was coming. And people still talk about those uniforms. It's been 20 years.
I know.
And for whatever reason, they haven't brought him back. Maybe that would be a good poll question for Key Auto Group. What's nicer, the new Argos powder blue? Cambridge Blues, as they call it. I feel like that's an Ontario thing.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Or the Rider Blacks.
Yes.
What a poll question. We got it.
Okay.
I think we got it. Fits Football Friday. It fits a lot of things. It's good.
Yeah. Darren, you're not an Apple guy, are you?
Half and half. So.
I just need to figure out. I did a dang. We have these updates, and it's like every time you get an update on your phone or your MacBook, it screws everything up.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting my text messages on my laptop. I don't want that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Back on point. Thanks. Taylor Sluka writes in and says, I can't wait to see my Stampeders win the Grey Cup this year. All the CFL fans have come here to talk today, and I'm here for it. Carlos in Indianapolis says, get the poll up. Well, I'm certainly not capable of doing that. I can put it on Twitter, and it's going to take me a minute. What's better, the Argos, Cambridge Blues, or the Rough Riders Blacks? And you might as well just say it from the Shivers Barrett era.
While we're on this,
yes,
and I know you're looking at it. If Morgan's watching and listening, and she's operating the actual live YouTube feed, she might be able to put the poll question on YouTube. She actually might be able to.
No time like the present. By the way, I really love working together. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. Game Plus Network is over there promoting our show today and all week, even though we're not on Game Plus this week because of a production backlog, a production double billing. But anyways, it's a Football Friday. We're almost 25% done the show today. Dale in Winnipeg is watching. He says, no complaints here. We have a beautiful weekend ahead. Great always crew. Signed, Dale and Jack. So let's spend a minute on that. It was like my 8th point was tonight's CFL games. Actually, we got through our 7. My 7th point was the CFL stats thing, basically saying, don't at me. So point 8 is the CFL tonight. And let's jump, because for the longest time, our top 2 regions for viewership were Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. It's, I think, now Saskatchewan and Calgary. Stamps lost last night. I see Jake Mayer didn't even play. As I said again, if you're going to bet on CFL preseason games, God bless you for doing it. But I got some oceanfront property in Arizona you might want to buy. How can you bet on these damn games, Darren?
I know.
Honestly. But you seem to be okay with it.
Well, all you're doing is like blindfolded throwing darts at the board and hoping something sticks, right? Like that's all you're doing. So
are you saying betting is luck?
No. Preseason betting is luck. You don't even know who's going to play.
That's good. That's good.
Doesn't mean it can't be fun, but it's just luck. Regular season, different story.
I'm channeling my inner Mike Ditka here. Because Carlos in Indianapolis writes in regarding our broadcast platforms and says, Monday will be 100% again, right? I think of that news conference with Ditka where he looked up at the reporter and goes, why do you care? You're watching on YouTube anyways. But yes, we will be. And we've got some new advertisers to the television broadcast we'll be unveiling on Monday, and I'm very excited about it. And thank you. You'll have to tune in on Monday to find out. Onwards and upwards. Anyways, the kid, I'm assuming he's a kid, says he can't wait for his Stampeders to win the Grey Cup this year. And now a fight's broken out in the chat. Monty in Saskatoon says, not gonna happen. Now I'm channeling my inner Will Smith. Can y'all feel that? Can y'all feel that? We're getting to the end of the CFL preseason. People are starting to get all peacocking about their teams, and they think they're going to win the Grey Cup. And good for them. But if Jake Mayer didn't even play last night, it's not a real accurate representation of how good the Calgary Stampeders are going to be. I've been asked for my Grey Cup favorites. I'm gonna say Winnipeg Hamilton. I think Bo's gonna get him there, and Winnipeg's still Winnipeg until they're not Winnipeg. I think they're gonna be Winnipeg for a while. Have you made a Grey Cup prediction? Because I don't think you have.
No, I mean, when I was on there on the Hughes show, we kind of went through it, and did I work my way into a Calgary Hamilton Grey Cup, which I think would be great.
A rematch of 1998 and 99.
I'm going to go with
2014.
Let's go with Calgary Hamilton. The matchup we all want. The matchup we all deserve.
Calgary Hamilton, did you say?
Yeah.
I'm tweeting the poll. I'm not arguing with you, just so you know.
I know.
From Kevin the Medium, he says, I said it yesterday. Stampeders 5-13 this year. Not a good team. Just not. Jordan Ewart checking in. I believe he is in the rectangle. He says, how does everyone expect attendance to be in the CFL this year? I'm just going to read the questions almost like they're rhetorical. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have any answers for you at the moment. Stacy Champagne, watching at Access World Headquarters, says, Bombers versus Tiger Cats, coup de grace. I like it. Coup de grace. I don't really understand why they hated us in Hamilton so much, us being Saskatchewan. It's Calgary that beat their ass in the Grey Cup all the time.
Yeah.
Usually you hate the team that you can't beat. Why they hate us so much? Maybe because I was the mouthpiece of the outfit. I'm not sure.
There's a chance.
Yes, Jordan, you were right. He says, rectangle life. Can we make the t-shirt, Moose? Rectangle life. I'll be getting back to that next weekend, by the way. So you said a Calgary Hamilton Grey Cup. Do you want to go out on a limb and say who you think will win it?
Not yet. Not yet. I need some time on that.
How confident are you in that?
I can't be. it's hard to make, honestly, anybody who's making preseason predictions, there can't be a ton of confidence in it. We haven't seen these teams play for real. All we've seen is some preseason ball. We don't know who's taken a big step forward, backwards. All we can do is say this is kind of what we expect to happen. The league always surprises us in some form or another. So, check back in 6 weeks, and I think we'll be able to see if we were pretty accurate or if we need to make some changes.
Yeah. Oh, I spelled Yorkton wrong. At Key Yorkton Kia. Folks, if you're not on Twitter, you're really missing out on a party. I mean, just overall, let alone our feeds.
Yeah.
Here we go. Which jerseys are better? Argos, Cambridge Blues, or the Rider Blacks? Let's hear from your Rider Nation. And Argo notes, stand up. Let's see what they got in them. Do where are we? How deep do we want to go? We see that we have fans here from all CFL teams. Well, most anyways. I haven't really gotten into tonight's games to the degree that I thought or promised that I would. Do we have to take a break in this hour, Darren? Do you want to? You're the boss.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Should we take it now?
Sure.
Okay, folks, whatever questions you want to know, it is a Football Friday. We'll get to some NFL stuff too. And here we go. From my guy, Matt, from the BC Lions, writes, sent a Matt Baker sends a news release out, says, don't call it a comeback. LL Cool J will rock BC Place on Saturday, June 17th. The BC Lions are thrilled to announce the two-time Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, founder and CEO of Rock the Bells, and international hip-hop icon, will headline our concert kickoff prior to the home opener against the Edmonton Elks. LL's performance gets going at 3 p.m. inside BC Place. People forgot all about the damn game last night in Vancouver, and this was what it was all about. And that guy, Amar Doman, the owner of the Lions, is sharper than the edge of town. He is cooler than the other side of the pillow, man. He's got it going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, all the other week one home opener acts across the CFL, who we're going to see, who you'd like to see, who we should have seen. It's a Football Friday, and we are live. No television today, but we are on an Atlanta radio, WQEE, also podcast and streaming.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients. yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Two, one.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and it is the RP show. And I got to say something. It's a Football Friday. I got a sports update coming back in a minute. Moose, I was listening to the podcast again. And I don't know if you ever do that. I assume you do. This was on Spotify. And do you know that we're brought to you by the Detroit Grand Prix?
Ooh.
Or some race? I'm like,
Cool.
we go to a commercial here on the RP show. People that are listening to the podcast will know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's zoom, zoom. Start your engines. Join us in Detroit for the Detroit Grand Prix. Something like that. I'm like, what's the Detroit Grand Prix bringing us? Aerial coverage? Because the text lines for Progressive Insurance.
Yeah, we got to find something for them.
We got to find. Yeah. Now, sports update. We've heard from the Canadian Elite Basketball League people, at least I have. I shouldn't speak for Darren and the rest of our wonderful staff, that we're the only media that covers them, save for TSN, which shows the games from time to time, but they don't talk about them in Sports Center or write about them on their website or their talk shows, whatever's left. Should we continue with the CEBL stuff? Because I'm a fan, and last night, with all 5 of their starters scoring in double figures, the Ottawa Blackjacks knocked off the previously unbeaten Montreal Alliance 89-75 in a matchup of the top 2 teams in the CEBL's Eastern Conference at TD Place Arena in Ottawa. Meanwhile, a clutch 3 and a high-flying block from Christian Vital allowed the Brampton Honey Badgers to defeat the Winnipeg Sea Bears 75-71 and secure their first win of the season at the CAA Center on Thursday night. Now, without us, how would you even know what a CAA Center was? Did you even know there was one, Moose? I didn't.
No. I do now.
Yeah, see? You're welcome, CEBL and CAA. And the sports update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas in theaters tonight. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales returns for the next chapter of the Oscar-winning Spider-Verse saga, an epic adventure that will transport Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man across the multiverse to join forces with Gwen Stacy and a new team of Spider People to face off with a villain more powerful than anything they've ever encountered. In theaters tonight, it starts Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think I'd like to go see that. 902-518-3033, the number to reach us here. Our text lines for Progressive Insurance. Wilf is watching in Steinbach, Manitoba. And I appreciate him getting us on track because he says, hi, Rod and Moose. Looking forward to a Rider win tonight. Just exhibition, but a win is a win. And from Jim Wagner, watching in Balgoni or listening, he says, fantastic Football Friday, all. Poll question, where in the world is Moose? Options are Moose Jaw, kidnapped, or witness relocation. And it's not
look like a backdrop for a ransom video, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, yes. Yeah. So to tonight's games in the Canadian Football League, and I will try to jump in with as many. Why can I not keep my mind on the road?
It's okay.
Why
Let it
can't
go.
I? Let it go?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. When something pops in your head, I want to hear it. For the most part.
We're going to talk about the Riders and the Bombers tonight. Okay, we are at IG Field. We still got another hour and 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
But Carlos in Indianapolis says, when you're the Golden Corral of sports talk, the lesser mentioned leagues get a place on the table. That's from Carlos. And from Troy Culmer, Troy in Toronto from the cheap seats says, Mama said, knock you out. Who sang it?
Oh.
LL Cool J.
Oh.
I'll say that for you. Because Troy and I are kids of the 90s for sure.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the 80s too. But to me, LL Cool J is the running back in any given Sunday.
Yes.
Try to keep on the road. My mind just went any given Sunday. Al Pacino thinks he's having a kid at the age of 83. I think that's selfish. He's going to be dead by the time his kid's out of diapers. But it's not my life, so I'll shut up. You do you, Al.
Yeah.
You do you. To the Golden Corral. If we were to, Darron, draw a parallel between Golden Corral food items and sports leagues,
Ooh.
what would it be? Because I took Darren, trust me, we're going to get to the Trevor Harris, and we're going to get to all that. We're going to get to it. But I took Darren, I'm almost embarrassed to say. We went to the Golden Corral. I had 3 steaks and 2 pieces of red velvet cake.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I focused on. Yeah, I had a little spaghetti. Yeah, I had a taco. Yeah, I had some, but I centered on steak and red velvet cake.
Okay.
So to me, I feel like well, is it for this show or just the world in general? No, it would be for this show. Steak is the National Hockey League. Steak is the National Hockey League, and the NFL is the red velvet cake. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What were the things that you enjoyed the most on the Golden Corral
the
buffet?
popcorn shrimp. I probably had that at every serving, even dessert.
Would that be the Canadian Football League or Canadian University Football? What would that be? Popcorn shrimp equals what in our...
Yeah, probably that, because it's just kind of always there, kind of surrounding it, but we're not really focusing on it, but it's there, right? We're not going to forget about it. We're going to make sure it's along for the ride all the time. I had a little, and then there's the little eclectic things. Like I had the Bourbon Street chicken, and I had a little bit of the, I didn't have pizza, but I had a bun. I think those are the J's and the CEBLs and things like that. You make sure you want to try those out, right? And then there's things like Korean baseball, and I think that was like the spicy dish in the corner that you might try one time out of like 6 trips to Golden Corral, right? We don't bring it up every day, like once a millennium.
Yeah, I feel like Carlos brought it up. It's going to take far more time to think about this than we have here right now. But steak is the National Hockey League. Red velvet cake's the NFL. Everything else slots in behind that. And John in Winnipeg says, what? Swerve in Calgary says the NFL should be ahead of NHL. It's our show, our buffet. And to me, the NHL comes ahead of everything else. So you go start your own show and your own buffet. I get what he's saying. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's what for us. Randy from the Peg writes in and says, LOL, he'll be dead as soon as the baby's out of diapers. Nice one, Rod. It just came out. I didn't mean it disrespectfully. You do you. And John in Winnipeg wants to know what would you not eat at the Golden Corral buffet? Well, come on, what are you, a rookie? You don't eat buns or bread because it takes up too much room in your stomach, and you don't eat salad because that's the cheap stuff. You eat that the other 6 days out of the week. You can get that anywhere. When you go to the Golden Corral, you eat the expensive stuff. Steak and red velvet cake. What are you, amateur?
I was halfway there. I avoided the salad bar like a veteran, but then I got sucked in by those buttery buns. Like they're like brushed with butter after they come out in the basket.
Yeah.
I had 2 of them.
Stephen in North Dakota says, at least Al Pacino is still getting lucky. Oh, good one, Stephen. Because it is a football Friday, and there are some people here that did want to talk about serious football for a second. Well, they had a Toronto lost last night in Guelph, 34-23 to the Ottawa Red Blacks. I happen to have the statistics in front of me, Moose. Chad Kelly started at quarterback for Toronto. A.J. Ouellette in the backfield. He's a Georgia product. For the Ottawa Red Blacks, Tyree Adams started at quarterback for Ottawa. By quarter, Ottawa led 14-10 after the first quarter, 20-10 at halftime, 27-17 going into the fourth quarter. Ottawa controlled the game throughout. I'm just going through my did you used to listen to Rider Radio, Darren, when my good man Harvey Johnson did the stats on the post-game show?
Yeah.
I'll do it like Harvey Johnson. For the Toronto Argonauts, it was a porous defense that gave up 324 yards. Harvey was an old baseball catcher, and his fingers went in 87 different directions.
I can see it.
And by the way, 324 yards given up is a pretty good day on defense.
Yeah.
Here was Harvey. A porous Saskatchewan defense gave up 287 yards rushing. And if it was a small carry, and Harvey, he started out as my stats guy, but he didn't finish as his stats guy. He retired. John Hoffman took over, but if, say, it was a 3-yard run by Mike Saunders, who was the running back for the Riders when I started, Harvey would reach up with his fingers and go like this. And I'm like, well, how many yards is that, Harvey? Your fingers are going in 87 different directions. Your fingers look like the roots of a tree. We had a lot of fun. Toronto turned the ball over 3 times. Ottawa, none. Each team registered 1 sack. And what you all came here for is this. The Toronto Argonauts quarterbacks, Chad Kelly, 4 of 5 for 105 yards and an efficiency rating of 118.8. Cameron Dukes was 5 of 9 for 56% completion percentage for 66 yards. Brian Scott, 6 of 9 for 48 yards. And Ben Holmes, 2 of 8. Cut his ass for 3 yards, 33 yards and a pick. For the audience, you're really enjoying this, Darren. I can tell by the smile on your face. What are you enjoying about this so much?
It's just good. It's old school, right?
It's your childhood.
Yeah, like you know what? I know we're the Golden Corral and we skim over stuff, but when you get into it and you go deep on this stuff, it's fun once in a while, you know, like, and we're getting that way a little bit with hockey, but you know, you'll always have that in the back of your mind, and when it comes to the Canadian Football League.
Oh, all these new hockey fans that just found this show are going, what the hell is he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like my friend Chris Sanford from the Bronx, who you met, he goes, I don't care what you talk about. You're entertaining as hell. On the quarterback side for Ottawa, Tyree Adams went 4 of 4 for 139 yards and a TD. Dustin Crum went 12 of 18 for 83 yards and a TD. I feel like he needs to be sponsored by Crumble Cookies. Dustin Crum. Can we get him an endorsement deal? And Jake Dunaway went 4 of 5 for 28 yards. I feel like we'll carry this over into hour 2, the BC Calgary stats from last night. Ottawa's leading rusher with 67 yards was Dustin Crum, the quarterback. Put him in the Hall of Fame. And Cameron Dukes, the quarterback for Toronto, was their rushing leader with 26 yards. Well, it never hurts to go through the preseason stat lines to find out who's playing where this year. Markeith Ambles had 2 catches for 49 yards for, guess who he's playing for now?
Tell me.
Toronto.
Yeah.
But their leading receiver was Dejan Brissett. 2 catches for 56 yards. And for Ottawa, top receiver was Emmanuel Butler, 2 catches for 79 yards. And again, for those bitching about the CFL stats, I don't get it. I don't know the inner workings of how they do things over there. What I know is this particular mechanism runs like a Swiss watch. I woke up this morning and had all the stats in my inbox from the CFL. How that doesn't translate to their website, I have no idea. The poll question for Key Auto Group in the time we have left in hour 1, by the way, Moose, which jerseys are better? Argos Cambridge Blues or the Rider Blacks? As we sit here today, 52% are voting for the Rider Blacks. How about that?
It's tight.
I'm voting for the Rider Blacks. I am. Maybe it's what should I say? Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe it's my history with the team. But I can't. I'm not even. There's no part of me that would allow me to not vote for the Rider Blacks. How about you?
Yeah, this is a really tough one. I'm glad it's close. I really am. I'm going to vote for the Argos Blues. I just love those jerseys. I think they're awesome.
Ooh.
I'm a big fan. You know, it kind of looks like the Tennessee Titans a little bit, so that makes me like it even more. It's hard to vote against those Rider Blacks, though, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to vote Toronto.
Does anybody know how to disassociate my cellular phone from my laptop?
There's a way.
Woosa. Biggest problem in Rod's life is his cell phone is sending its text messages to his laptop. Woosa. There's a lot of people with bigger problems than that in this world today. Ooh, and I feel better. That was easy.
Just got that off your chest.
Football fans, Woody's RV World presents the Summer Football Road Trip hosted by the Rod Pedersen Show and Engelheim. Come on and join us. Picking your tickets up today or this weekend at rodpedersen.com. Click on the link and you're there. One click and you're there. The trip includes charter transportation from Engelheim on June 23rd from Regina to Calgary and then back on June 25th. 2 nights accommodations at Hotel Cleat Calgary Airport with complimentary breakfast, exclusive pre- and post-game parties hosted by moi. Tickets to the Stamps and Saskatchewan, June 24th. And now, the addition. Woody's would like to have you bring a friend or a loved one. On them. Simply purchase an RV at Woody's. And if you buy a ticket to join us on the football road trip, Woody's will buy you an additional ticket. A BOGO, if you will. Bring your best bud, your kid, your partner. Heck, bring your grandma. Go to rodpedersen.com, click on the links, and we'll see you in Calgary for the football game. I don't want to be that guy, but speaking of your youth, Darren, and because we're having fun, you remember those old ads for Dash Tours?
Yeah.
One call and you're there. I feel like we could steal that
Sure.
for the RP Show Tour Company and say, one click and you're there. And I'll never forget, we're doing a draw, let's say to the Banjo Bowl or something. And it was in the Sports Cage radio studio. And Dave and I were pretty close, Dave Ash. One-man show, by the way. That whole company was one guy, Dave Ash. Good guy. And, a big tour company. He ran it all by himself. Well, he had an office assistant, of course. But anyways, Darren, everybody entered their names for this bus trip to get a free trip to Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl. We're in a commercial break. And Dave's got the bucket here. And he goes, I said, just before we reach in, he goes, are we doing this legit? I said, is there any other way? What have you been doing for the last 30 years? Of course it's going to be legit.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I don't even know who won. But a little bit of me died that day. A little bit of me died that day. Because I thought, what do you mean all these contests aren't on the up and up?
Wait, am I not the ninth caller?
Right.
Oh.
This is interesting. Mandy has joined the chat. And she says, hi, all. I haven't paid any attention to the CFL for some time, but I'm planning to get tickets for the Sask Edmonton game June 11th and bring my boy to his first game. Malcolm's his name. I remember, Mandy. She says, I wish Duran was still on the Elks. Isn't that interesting? Oh, Dan in Saskatoon writes in, picture the banner. Hockey is Canada. Canada is hockey. Dave Ash's sign at 1 million World Junior tournaments. Are we doing this legit? Should have seen his face. He was 100% serious. Yeah, of course we are, Dave.
Wait, have you been doing this?
What have you been doing for 30 years? Mandy, we're going to take a commercial break. I want to get to the bottom of why you aren't paying attention to the CFL anymore. There might be a nugget in there somewhere that the CFL can use.
Yeah.
It's a Football Friday, and we haven't even gotten into NFL OTA'S or anything else. So we'll be right back. And there's 2 games tonight, Hamilton at Montreal. Make some noise. And Sask at Winnipeg in the Ukulele Bowl. We'll be back in a moment. Not on Game Plus television, but on WQEE radio, podcast, and streaming.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, everybody, and we are live with Hour 2 of the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming at you live on WQEE Radio, Atlanta's NHL station show. That's us. Actually, Rhino Radio, we would be Atlanta's NHL station too, right? The Key. And where I'm told by Sean Lucas, former Rough Riders linebacker, that half the CFL lives in Atlanta in the offseason. But we're not in the offseason anymore. We're halfway through this Football Friday today. Last hour, we put to bed one of the games from Thursday night. The Toronto Argonauts losing at home 34-23 to the Ottawa Redblacks. Here in hour 2, we're going to talk a little bit about the BC Lions home victory over the Calgary Stampeders 25-22. The fact that the BC Lions have announced LL Cool J will be performing at before their home opener. I think it's Edmonton. Is it Edmonton? No. June 7th. Maybe it is Edmonton. We'll get to that. Moose is with me here. He is in an undisclosed location. Just trust me, it is the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. That's all that I will say. I have to close my eyes for a second, Darren, because I'm being distracted by all the comments that are coming in from the viewers. There's a lot. Yeah, Rhino Radio. Rhino Radio says, yes, we would be for sure Atlanta's NHL station. Tingles when I think about that. And we've got a carryover here from last hour with the comments and everybody, but we got a real humdinger of a poll question going. And Darren, who came up with it? I feel like it was you and me both.
It was both of us together. You know, you were thinking about the Argos thing, and you mentioned the Riders blocks, and yeah, I think I kind of said that would make a great poll question. But between the two of us, yeah, we nailed it.
Well, we're getting the poll question is, which jerseys are better? The new Toronto Argonauts Cambridge Blues, and this has only been a thing for a week, so I don't expect all of our audience would even know what that is. It's powder blue helmets, jerseys, and pants. Just picture it. And then it's pretty damn good. Yeah. And then the Saskatchewan Roughriders, when I was calling the games, I want to say 2003, 2004, we debuted all black jerseys, black pants. We did wear green helmets, not black helmets. Black helmets would have been pretty cool. But picture it. Sicily, 1912. I've been watching way too much Golden Girls. Sophia. But no, I want to say it's 2003. All of a sudden, we started thumping over the sound system at Taylor Field, Men in Black by Will Smith. And all of a sudden, the guys come out. We warmed up in green.
Yeah.
Went back inside and then came out long before Bring him out. It was Men in Black, and the guys come out now. Corey Holmes, Nealon Green, Jackie Mitchell. I know these names are meaning a lot to you and to all of the Rider Priders that are listening right now. And they were jumping up and down. They were like blowing kisses to the crowd. These jerseys were something, man. And to be honest, I don't even think Roy Shivers told the Rider board that he was doing it. As a matter of fact, I would guarantee that he didn't.
Wow.
I'd have to call Rider owner Tom Shepard and get a ruling on that. But anyways, a lot of the CFL community and football fraternity are jumping on board with this, like Kent Ridley's listening in Nashville. And he says, come on, CFL fans, jump all over this one. Vote on it. Mike Adamiak in Calgary says neither. Of course, he's going to say that. And the interesting one from the Peanut Gallery Moose, Ravi, listening in Toronto, says the Riders need to go back to their retros. Their current uniforms are the ugliest by far in the league. I'm just passing it along. Don't shoot the messenger. And from Steve, Television Steve, listening in Los Angeles right now, says, oh, good one, Rod. We don't have the sound effects, so we're going to have to do it on our own.
That's right.
We're going to have to do it on our own. It's a fun Football Friday, 902-518-3033. There's far more interest and fun to be had in discussing LL Cool J going to play the home opener for the BC Lions. So before we get to that, let's just talk about last night's preseason game at BC Place Stadium. We talked about Ottawa beating Toronto yesterday. So this was last night. BC jumped out to a 15-0 lead after the first quarter. 23-3, they led at the half. And then the Calgary Stampeders scored 16 points in the third quarter. So it was 23-19 going into the fourth. And it ended 25-22. The kicker, Burnham, for the BC Lions, kicked the winning field goal. And what everybody's talking about coming out of that game, as I get to the individual statistics, bear with me, everybody. I can do it off the top of my head while we wait. Vernon Adams was 12 for 12.
Yeah.
Quarterbacking for BC with 3 touchdowns. We're just about there. There it is. VA, 12 for 12, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dominic Davis, 3 of 7 for 31 yards. Dane Evans, 6 of 9 for 0 yards. That's probably the most experienced quarterback room in the entire Canadian Football League. I mean, that's what's cool about the discussion that we're having right now. You don't think about that stuff till you're looking right at it.
Yeah.
You know? Over on the other side for Calgary, Jake Mayer did not play. Tommy Stevens, 8 of 13. No interceptions, no touchdowns. Chris Reynolds, 12 of 13 with a touchdown. And Logan Bonner, 0 of 3. The Stamps' leading rusher, Dedrick Mills, 31 yards on 5 carries. For the BC Lions, Antonio Williams, 46 yards rushing on 11 carries. And in the receiving department, Dominic Rhymes, 83 yards receiving on 5 receptions for BC. And for the Calgary Stampeders, looks like 54 yards led. The guy's name is Rythe Jean Girard. The French people always get me. It's difficult. So there's your statistics rundown. But what's more interesting is the LL Cool J thing. And I'm just going to leave this here. I'm not placing any judgment, Moose. But I saw some Rider fan saying on Twitter, and you might have seen her too. I think you follow her. She goes, oh, great. The Lions have LL Cool J for their home opener, and we've got Kim Mitchell. Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, don't be snarky at that. I would take Kim Mitchell. It would be my choice. I'm a huge Kim Mitchell fan.
Okay.
You imagine the pregame show and Go for a Soda comes on. Like, how do you not get pumped up when that song comes on? That's like my favorite song of all time.
Well, Patio Lanterns is pretty cool too.
Oh, of course.
It's potato.
Yeah.
I just remember when these things were being announced. And by the way, can somebody please, an Alouettes fan, tell me who the Alouettes have announced for their home opener band? And I like the fact that the teams are all doing this and kind of trying to one-up each other.
Yeah.
I want to say, again, I'm not a rock guy. I think it's Stone Temple Pilots, which if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you one song they sing. I just can't. It's the oddest thing in the world that I would like country music and hip hop. They don't really go together, but if you know music, which I was a DJ, any music aficionado will tell you the beat in the two genres is quite similar. The beat. So it's what hits your soul. I won't go any deeper than that. Randy is watching in Cochrane, Alberta, and has written in on the Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033. Doesn't that sound great, Moose?
Yeah.
He says, I think the key to success for the CFL is leadership at the top. Case in point is BC Lions' new owner, Amar Doman. Totally turned things around with solid business acumen. Don't let an accountant run a sports team like the Riders do. That's another thing. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading what he said. And that's from Randy. And it's not just leadership in the CFL. It's leadership everywhere. I see Amar Doman everywhere. The guy is on top of things, which, by the way, you've noticed, Darren, when you were here in Boca, that this is a huge Jewish community. Apparently, the word for years that I was saying chutzpah is actually chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
Chutzpah. So Amar Doman has chutzpah. He's watching our story because I go in and look and see who's watching our Instagram story. Amar's on. The guy is a flipping off, maybe a billionaire. If not, he's close in logging. He owns a pro football team, and he's sitting there watching our story and posting himself on Instagram. So with all of this, see, Arlen Bruce has shown up just in time. AB3, two-time Grey Cup champion, says, I really hope Chris Jones and Edmonton Elks get their first home win June 11th. Play Loonies and Toonies one time to get the crowd going. I passed along, by the way, your song Loonies and Toonies to our production team, AB. That's all I can say. I want that song to air in this show, but I'm not in charge of the music. And backing this up for a second, who do the Edmonton Elks and Chris Jones play on June 11th in the home opener? Do you know, Moose?
The Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Hey, Saskatchewan Roughriders. June 11th. What day of the week is that?
Is that a Sunday?
That's
Saturday?
His birthday, for one. That is a Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. For a second, I thought I was going to go to that game, but I probably won't. Oh, Mandy, I haven't forgotten about you because I asked her a question and she answered it. She was good enough to do so.
Okay.
But before I go any further, Troy Calmer in Toronto says, Kim Mitchell is awesome in concert. I've seen him at least 10 times. When he plays Max Webster tunes, it's even better. Jeff the Stamps fan says, sorry, not Jeff the Stamps fan. Where is Jeff? Oh, right. Stampeders lost last night, so he doesn't show up.
Right.
Jeff Cabillas says, Fred Penner did a Bomber game once. It was pretty awesome. Crowd was quite into it. Insert joke here. From the bomb. The bomb. He says the Owls have Our Lady Peace.
Very good, too.
Well, you see how I used to get offended when people said, all country singers sound the same. All country music sound the same. It does. It does now, but it didn't back when I was listening to it.
Yeah.
But I really feel all the rock sounds the same. Our Lady Peace, Stone Temple Pilots, Theory of a Dead Man, Stop Me. They all sound the same to me.
Oh, man. You remember when we were driving around the outskirts of Calgary, up through the First Nation and down through the mountains and just listening to 90s country on a loop? That was the best. You just go out for a drive with 90s country, and
doesn't all sound the same. It's insulting for somebody to say that.
Yeah.
And by the way, what got the people jumping in the comments here? The talk about the entertainment. I am not just a pretty face. John in Edmonton says, Manitoba's own Tom Cochrane. Life is a Highway. And Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I love Life is a Highway. Great song. We're getting a little off topic, but that's okay. I kind of planned that. Where's the comment, Mandy? Here. She says, really, I haven't been paying attention because motherhood and work consume my life. Something's got to give. Maybe that's a reason why there are less women fans. What? Men can't be parents too? What? Men can't work too? I say that fully tongue-in-cheek. She says it's not an interesting reason. The CFL has just kind of wandered into that territory of you really need to go seek out the information. That's what I feel. One thing, we have been on the air here for an hour and 16 minutes, and we have really not even gotten into tonight's Winnipeg-Saskatchewan game. But I will say this, talk programs, whether it be TV or radio, are a wonderful complement to the games. I kind of wanted this to be a pregame show for tonight's games, and it still can be, but it's just talk. We could sit here. That's why I knew why we were popular, getting more popular in South Florida and Atlanta, is because we are different than what everybody else is talking about. On this morning, what were they? Again, It was all about the Heat. And why wouldn't they talk about the Heat? It's their team. But we talk about things that everybody isn't talking about, and it's refreshing. The thing that I get the most is it's refreshing. And it's like in Saskatchewan, when we started, and I was living in Saskatchewan, when it's just a Facebook-only show, that's what people said then. It's not what everybody else is talking about. We're just doing the same thing, but to scale. Now, to on point, in the thumbnail that we posted for today's show, it said Redemption Week. And I need to put the blinders on from the comments for a second and have it just be me and Moose here for a time. Cody Fajardo starts at quarterback tonight for Montreal. Now, I'd like to be there at McGill. Can't be everywhere. Trevor Harris starts at quarterback for Sask tonight. And I don't believe this game's on television, but if it is, somebody tell me. I don't know. I will be tuning it in streaming. And because it's only Central Time, only 1 hour behind where I am on the East Coast, I'll be able to watch a good chunk of the game.
Yeah.
I saw a quote somewhere, I believe, that Trevor Harris said he wanted to prove that he was worth the investment by Saskatchewan. Do you not feel that starts tonight, even though it's a preseason game? Are they not going there wanting that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not, I don't think he needs to prove the investment was worth it tonight, but I think he needs to prove that they made the right choice a little bit and at least instill some confidence that this team's going to be okay moving forward. If he comes out and completely stubs his toe and just can't get anything moving, we'll be a little nervous. I mean, because I'm here. I'll say Rider fans will be real nervous going into week one. But if he comes out, even if he only plays a couple of series, if he gets a couple first downs, he moves the ball, shows some competency, then I think that's all you need to do. You need to show some competency, some chemistry, and show that you're ready to go for week one. I think that'll be, on the minds of both him and Cody Fajardo in the game tonight.
Jordan wrote in earlier, Jordan Ewart, and said, what are our thoughts on CFL attendance? I don't have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's a lot of people do. I wonder how the Bombers feel that tonight's game is on TSN. 3 people wrote in and said, indeed, it is on Canada's sports leader, the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I wonder how Wade Miller feels. Because I don't know Wade real well. I know Wade enough, but I don't know him real well. I wonder what he would think. I guess we'll find out tonight at the Turnstiles.
Yeah.
Would they rather this game wasn't on television because it would make people buy more tickets? I don't know if Wade is that archaic thinker. I don't think he is. I don't think you become the marquee marquee franchise in the Canadian Football League by being a small thinker. Wade is not a small thinker. I think Wade would be the kind of guy that would be happy that the game would be on television because it's a 3-hour commercial for your team on national television.
Yeah.
There are a lot of owners and presidents that would not want the games televised. In all sports, this isn't a CFL-specific thing. You and I know those people.
Yeah.
Those are people that are in charge of leagues and teams that are shrinking. But I don't know. I don't know what the forecast is for Winnipeg tonight or not.
Okay.
I just overall think, Darren, that having your games on national television can't be anything but good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. And I think, when you talk about other leagues, like let's say junior hockey or, university football, where every game's not on TV, okay? But the national networks are doing some university football, some junior hockey, and we see it with the Memorial Cup. Let's throw the Regina Pats, for example. Not every game's on TV, or the Kelowna Rockets, or the Saskatoon Blades, or Brandon Wheat Kings. When national TV is coming to your building, one half of the team will say, that sucks. We're not going to sell tickets. We don't want them to come. But the smart guy would say, national TV's coming. Let's give away all the tickets. Let's make sure the arena's full. So everybody sees what a great atmosphere it is, how much fun they're having. And then the rest of the games that aren't on TV, maybe they'll want to come down and watch the games. And everybody will say, what are they doing in Brandon? That's so awesome. So I think, it's all about who's in charge and what your mindset is, and can you take advantage of this or not? Because national TV can be a great tool for your team.
And that, it's funny how this all comes full circle every day in what we're discussing. And by the way, we still have 40 minutes on air here. But Arlen Bruce III, product of Kansas City, Missouri, writes in. By the way, AB, did you know I have cousins in Missouri? And that's how they say it, Missouri. Arlen says, knowing Wade Miller, he is a modern-day John Candy. Is that right? You know him better than me, AB, so he didn't strike me as a John Candy type. But I didn't know John Candy real well either. I did interview him once. That's a story for another time. But yeah, my mind went 18 different directions. Well, I've often, yeah. Thanks, Jeff Cabillas in Winnipeg, for keeping me on track. He goes, I'm actually going to stay home and watch the Peterborough-Seattle semifinal tonight. Go Memmer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to chastise you for doing that, but why would you do that? You're from Winnipeg, and you're going to stay home and watch Peterborough and Seattle? I don't really understand why you would do that. But I'll probably watch on the streaming here as well.
Yeah. But Rod, that's kind of the same as, the people talking about not watching the Stanley Cup final because your team's not in it anymore. Jeff's a big junior hockey fan, wants to watch the national championship. I would choose it over a preseason CFL game. I don't know if I would choose it over a regular season CFL game, but I don't know. I'm kind of with Jeff on this one.
18th story of the tombstone will be, you do you.
Yes.
I mean, you want to stay home and watch the Memmer? Do it. Who are we to say no?
Yeah.
And Jeff says, by the way, I love the Memorial Cup. One of my favorite times of the year. Oh, dude, mine too. And I got to say, there's a wonderful couple here in South Florida, Eric and Sheila. And I work out with them from time to time at Orange Theory. And the other day, they were talking about the Heat Game 6 in Miami. Whatever was last Friday. Must have been Game 5.
Okay.
And Eric was like, did you watch it? And I was like, no, I didn't. What was I watching? I thought for a second. I'm like, oh, no. I was watching the opening game of the Memorial Cup, Quebec City versus Kamloops. You would have thought I was speaking Mandarin to them. Like, they were literally speechless. I said, it's the Canadian National Junior Hockey Championship. It's a tournament. And I just stopped and I said, I'm pretty sure I was the only person in the state of Florida watching that last night. And then everybody broke out laughing in the lobby of Orange Theory.
The what now? With the who now?
Oh. I mean, I get it. But as I said to my guy, Chris Sanford from the Bronx, because he said, when you talk junior hockey, you lose me. I said, can you just give me a week? Give me a week of it. Because this is the week. If you're going to talk about it at all, This is the week. So now I've talked myself into realizing why Jeff is staying home to watch it tonight rather than go watch Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. But having said that, you do always want, when you're a Canadian Football League team, to host that. You want it to be the home team for the second preseason game, because the first preseason game is a dog's breakfast.
Yeah.
I've been at a million of them. There's 80 players dressed for one team, 100 dressed for another, which I understand in junior and college. That's normal, but not in pro. But tonight, what you're going to get at IG Field is as close to a regular season game as you're going to get. And here's the thing. I was thinking about this morning, because there's a lot of pomp and circumstance. I've read the articles about which jobs are open going into tonight's game on both teams. I don't even know how much Zach Caleros is going to play tonight for Winnipeg. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Bomber fans, that Drew Brown is going to start at quarterback for Winnipeg. But it's all that coverage and stuff, and then they play the game, and then boom, you forget about it, and you're on to next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the build-up, and they play, and then on to the next thing. It's what you do. And if you want to, it's like the Golden Corral. You want some of this? Take it. If you don't, walk on by.
Yeah.
That's why we talk football on Fridays here. We don't talk about it the rest of the week. Jeff, by the way, in Winnipeg says, I heard Caleros ain't playing tonight. That's the thing. I might have misread it. I was reading it at the Bomber website. Yeah, I do know this. For Sask, each player is going to get a quarter. Each quarterback is going to get a quarter. Trevor Harris will start. I'm a little surprised he won't get more, but they really want to find out who this number 2 is going to be. Yeah. So Shea Pedersen, it sounds like we'll get the second quarter. Mason Fine the third. Maybe whatever. Tune in and find out. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here. Any thoughts on the Hamilton-Montreal game tonight? How big is this for Cody Fajardo tonight?
It's somewhat big, just to, again, make sure you're on the same page, remove any doubt that you're the guy and all that kind of stuff. That's what these games are all about for everybody. It's just confidence, right? I mean, if there's one team that is confident and doesn't need to worry about anything, it's Winnipeg, and Zach Caleros doesn't need to play. I mean, they know he's the guy. He's firmly entrenched. You know, there is question marks around Cody Fajardo. There just is, because of the year last year and whether it was his fault or not, because, you know, there was offensive line issues and other things going on. It's a confidence thing now and a fresh start. So yeah, it's just a confidence builder this week. And that's what every team's trying to accomplish here, is just some confidence, not necessarily with the wins and the losses or how much you play, but just got to build some confidence.
There he is. Larry Sweet has answered the bell. He's chimed in from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's texted the Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033. And Larry says, Rod, those of us here in the South have to like the Toronto Blue. Very close to North Carolina Blue. Go Tar Heels. And, of course, his son is the offensive coordinator of the Toronto Argonauts. Larry, just so you know, late in hour one, we went through, would you not say, Darren, more than anybody else in the country, almost a fine-tooth comb, we went through that Toronto-Ottawa football game last night in Guelph.
We did.
We did, because it is a Football Friday here, and that's what we do. We're going to take a timeout right now, and for the next 30 minutes, it's all audience takeover the rest of the way. From the Bomb, watching on streaming, says Cody Fajardo will have a big year in Montreal. He deserves it too. I want to talk about that when we come back. All the pressure that was on Cody Fajardo last year specifically, and he cracked. I love him, but even he would admit he cracked. There's a big answer, and I don't mind saying that because I've cracked him. I've cracked under the pressure. I know what it's like. I came back stronger. Will he? That's the question. So that's one of the topics when we come back. Jordan Ewart says, go Riders, go T-Birds, and enjoy the weekend. Peace. Here you go. Whatever you'd like to talk about for the next 30 minutes, fire it up. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show on WQEE Radio, where we are Atlanta's NHL show, podcast, and streaming.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
One.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. We are live, at least on radio and streaming. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you for doing so and making us part of your day and your weekend, if you will. Before more with Moose on this Football Friday, a sports update. The Ontario Hockey League champion Peterborough Petes battle the WHL topping Seattle Thunderbirds in the semifinal game at the Memorial Cup in Kamloops, BC tonight. The Petes earned their spot with a 5-4 overtime victory over the Kamloops Blazers in a tiebreaker Thursday night. The Blazers blew a 4-1 second period lead and went on to lose. The winner of tonight's game will face the Quebec Rempart in Sunday's championship game. And Moose, is anybody talking about the fact that this will probably be Patrick Roy's last game in the CHL on Sunday because he's getting NHL opportunities? Anybody talking about that?
Not really. Not
Of
that I've
course.
heard, but it is something worth pointing out.
Because they don't even know it.
That's right.
Anyways, the Stanley Cup final gets underway Saturday with the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Florida Panthers. It's Vegas' second Cup final in 6 seasons. The Knights' other trip occurred in 2018, their inaugural season. And, of course, Florida's only other Stanley Cup final appearance came in 1996. How much talk is there of that where you are?
A little bit.
Like
sure
the
there is.
history of the matchup, I mean.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think because of the history, I think a few more people are probably pulling for the underdog Panthers. I really do. You know, haven't been there since 96, really haven't had a lot of success. And I think there's a little bit of, well, Vegas has already had a lot of success. They haven't really struggled yet. They haven't really gone through any pain. So they don't really need to win yet. I think the public is kind of leaning on the Panthers, if I would have to guess.
I have a lot of topics that I wrote down in the break that'll carry us right to the top of the hour, everybody. So buckle up. Your seatbelt, that is. Undo your belt. Kick your shoes off and have fun the rest of the way with us. I was started to smile while you were talking there because I was thinking of the Blue Jays. They begin a 3-game interleague series with the Mets in New York tonight, coming off a 3-1 win over the Brewers at Rogers Center Thursday. The Jays are 4th in the American League East, 9.5 behind the Rays. The Mets are 2nd in the NL East. There was a spot in the game yesterday just to prove that we were watching it. And this won't shock you either. I came in after the show. The Golden Girl was sitting on the couch watching the Blue Jays and the Brewers. And she said, "What's up now?" And I said, "You have me for the rest of the day." And she said, "I don't need you. I'm watching baseball." And she had this wicked smile on her face. And there was a spot in the game. I guess Vladdy was DHing yesterday, and he was mugging for the camera. I don't assume you watched it. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just knew that the camera was right on him in the dugout. So he's going like this and making funny faces and stuff. And Dan Schulman, the announcer, said, "Vladdy's either making faces at the camera or at Hazel." Because that was the way he was looking.
Yeah.
So then they put the camera on Hazel May, and she was like pointing at herself like this. I'm like, oh, my God. This business should be fun. And I'm glad that the Blue Jays are having fun. And go Jays. I don't even know who's doing color. I know Buck is off right now. I hope everything's good with it. I don't know who was doing color. Probably Joe Sedal. But he was specifically talking himself about how much he hates the New York Mets. So should be a fun series this weekend. Sports update is for Landmark Cinemas in theaters June 9th. Transformer, Rise of the Beasts, returning to the action and spectacle that have captured moviegoers around the world. Transformers Rise of the Beasts will take audiences on a 90s globe-trotting adventure with the Autobots and introduce a whole new breed of Transformer, the Maximals, to the existing battle on Earth between Autobots and Decepticons. Darren, do you want to read that in English to me, please?
Yes. The Transformers are going to battle against the evil guys that are coming from outer space. Okay? That's what's happening. I think we all know the Transformers, but we don't really. Autobots, Decepticons, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. And you know what? I'm vowing to, I don't know when, but I want to get to a movie this weekend. So it might be one of those get home from the rink at 10 o'clock and go to like a 10:45 movie, but we'll see.
Spider-Man or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked a ton of CFL today. We've put it to bed. Time to have fun. And I do have my topics here too, but Arlen Bruce III checking in. I appreciate you, AB, for sticking with us through the whole show today. He's a P1, what we call a priority one viewer. He says, who do you think will be on the cover of Madden 24? Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Geno Smith. And I got to say, why would you think Geno Smith? I mean, who goes on Madden? Forgive me for saying, is it not the face of the league? And who is the face of the league? A lot of the audience writing in and saying they think it's going to be Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes is the face of the league, period. But I'm assuming he's been on Madden covers. Let me go to the big board and find that out.
He was. No,
Yeah.
he was on a recent Madden cover with Tom Brady. It was like a young goat, old goat kind of theme. So they were on it together and maybe on two different commemorative covers. So he won't be on again, I don't think. You know, Geno was kind of one of the big stories of the league last year, but I don't think he's going to be on the cover of Madden. I could see Tyreek Hill being on the cover of Madden. I really could. I could see Jalen Hurts being on the cover, but Joe Burrow would be my pick. Probably Joe.
I'm looking at it right now. I mean, oddest thing and the wildest thing to me. I used to be a huge gamer.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was, again, before Darren and I knew each other. Life tip here or recovery thing. As a guy prone to addiction as I am, I was never addicted to smoking. I was never addicted to gambling or some of these other things, but I was addicted to alcohol. And frankly, I was addicted to video games. I just was. And there's a reason for that. But when I stopped gaming was when I started the talk show on radio, because I didn't have time to fart around playing video games.
Yeah.
And you understand that now. When you're doing a talk show, this isn't like it was there, because I didn't know what I was doing there. I'd like to think I know what I was doing here, but I'd never done a talk show before. And you know this, in the times that you've hosted this show or running this business, your mind is always on the show.
Yeah.
Always. And before that, when I was just calling play-by-play of hockey and football, when I wasn't calling the games, I didn't think about the teams. So I was playing video games. Had to have something to occupy my mind with. And when I wasn't doing that, I was drinking. So to go back and look at these Madden covers in Madden 22, I see Tom and Mahomes. I didn't even know that. 2021 was Lamar. Patrick Mahomes again, 2020. AB in 2019. Antonio Brown. Can I say that's the year that the NFL would prefer to forget? Tom Brady in 2018.
Talk about a Madden curse for Antonio Brown.
I know. Gronk in 2017. OBJ in 2016. Richard Sherman 2015. I was going to say, why is Barry Sanders on this? It was the all Madden 25-year history.
Yeah.
Megatron in 2013. And to be honest, it's interesting. The last year that I played regularly was 2011, and that's when my show started. And Drew Brees was the cover guy of that. And before that, Troy Polamalu, Larry Fitzgerald, Brett Favre. But am I not correct in saying, oh, here's Vince Young, 2008. You remember that.
Yeah.
Is it not the face of the league is the Madden cover, or did I miss something?
It's typically the face of the league, or it's somebody pretty close. You know, I don't know if Gronk was ever the face of the league, but he was one of them. Same with Vince Young. He was kind of the young guy coming up, he was the rookie of the year, right? Maybe not the face of the league, but very exciting. So it's got to be something like that. It won't be just a random player, that's for sure. But who would have, on all the bingo cards in all the years, who would have thought you'd have back-to-back years of a Detroit Lion being on the cover of the video game?
Especially when they were bad then, too.
I know.
They've never been good. Thank you, Ryan O'Radio at WQEE Atlanta. He says, great Football Friday RP show. Thank you, Ryan. Teamwork makes the dream work. I love working together with people. Michael Wynn has shown up from Ice Time Sports in Winnipeg, the sporting goods store, and says, go Bombers. This was like the pregame show for the Bombers and Riders. We talked about that about 30 minutes ago if you want to rewind it. Maybe 20. Oh, man. Allie in Texarkana has entered the chat, and she says, man, Vince Young was such a good quarterback. He was.
Yeah.
But do we want to listen? Give me a minute for all the newbies as I talk about Vince Young. I got his cell phone number. I want to say I think it was 2017 when we signed him with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I was just telling somebody this story the other day. We had a camp up the road here, up the I-95 in Vero Beach with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Vince Young. Do you remember, Darren? I guess you and I were friends. We'd been friends for 2 years then. Remember, Vince Young was going to come out of retirement, restart his pro career with the CFL Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he was posting those videos, those workout videos of him. Do you remember that?
I do.
By the way, Lou Gamelin's watching in Michigan right now. Lou Gamelin writes in and he says, our Lions, will they put Gibbs on the cover next year after the Lions make their historic run this year? We'll get back to you on that.
They might put Dan Campbell on the cover of Madden.
The coach, yeah. Has there ever been a coach? The answer is no, Jim. Well, other than John Madden himself.
That's right. That's right.
Ali says, so jelly of Vince Young. I'm not. I guess you would say I'm spoiled. I've been around so many athletes my whole life. It's I don't get the tingles, maybe like I did when I was a kid. And the thing with Vince Young, he went to the camp. He was a good enough guy. He's not the biggest human I've ever been around, but he's the most athletic big human I've ever been around. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because I would say, we were talking earlier about John Candy. My claim to fame, I would say, was interviewing John Candy when he was the owner of the Argos in 1991. Live sideline interview on News 1010 Toronto. Argos broadcast. But Vince Young was, you could Google it and go to the big board yourself, but I want to say he was about 6'5", listed at 325, so probably 350.
Yep.
And I remember swatting him in the back, and it was like hitting a fridge. Like my arm stopped. I'm like, this guy is massive.
Yeah.
And again, with all due apologies to the CFL and its fans, it ain't the same as the NFL. I'd never seen anything like this. Vince Young, went in his drops, he was literally like a butterfly at 6'5", 350. He was like a butterfly. And then 70 yards down the field, like nothing. And every day of that camp, 3 Philadelphia Eagles fans showed up just to boo Vince Young, which I thought was hilarious.
I remember.
And Ali says, by the way, best quarterback UT has ever had. No two ways about it. And people forget that Vince did win 2 Pro Bowls in Tennessee. However, or go to 2 Pro Bowls with Tennessee. But what's his claim to fame? Well, his claim to fame's winning the Rose Bowl with the Texas Longhorns. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Over Matt Leinart in what I think is the greatest game I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're starting to sound like an American show, which is fine. Sitting here talking college football, people didn't think we could do it. Oh, we can do whatever we want. Oh, Swerve in Calgary says 350 is kind of heavy for a quarterback. Well, ideally, he wouldn't have wanted to play at that. He was a little overweight. So I'm trying to do the chronological history here. We signed him in the dead of winter. I want to say it was like about March 17th. But it was minus 40 in Saskatchewan. And I remember him flying in with Lee Steinberg, his agent, the guy who the movie Jerry Maguire was based upon.
Yep.
A personal hero of mine, frankly, although I've never really wanted to be an agent, had the opportunity, declined, don't regret it. Vince's woman was with him. And I say woman because I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His son, his PR guy. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is Barnum and Brothers circus rolling into Mosaic Stadium here. And he was a nice enough guy. Did every interview, posed for all the photos. I think I still got some photos with him. And then we did the Vero Beach thing, and he was good there. And then in Saskatoon for training camp. So it was 6 years ago. Feels like 60 years ago.
Yeah.
But fans were showing up. It was a big deal. That's where I wanted to live stream the green and white game, and the Riders wouldn't allow me to do it. And then they put a security guy on me to make sure that I didn't do it. And they were correct in doing so because I was going to do it without their approval. And it wouldn't have mattered anyways because in the first or second series, he popped a hamstring, never played again. The one thing was, this just dawned on me this morning about Vince Young. I was a little upset because after a practice one day, he went in after practice. He had signed some autographs and then went into the locker room. And then the PR guy was like, hey, Vince, there's some kids out here that weren't around for the earlier session. Can you come out and sign some autographs? He's like, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? because your fans are your fans. And the guys that are my closest friends in this industry, like the Henry Burrises, like the Duron Carters, were always the guys keeping the bus waiting, keeping the plane waiting, signing autographs. They'd still be there.
You're
And
trying to
Vince had
make a comeback. You need to have
Yes.
all the support you can get. You shouldn't be turning down support when you're trying to, make a comeback like that and create fan interest and stuff. No, you should be signing every autograph you can get your hands on.
Right. But on the flip side of that, there have been moments that I haven't been at my best, and people saw.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that they're not holding on to that. Many are, but they shouldn't. Eric Tillman was a wonderful mentor of mine, and he said, if you need to form your opinion on somebody, form it on their best moments, not their worst. That was from Tillman. I never forgot that. And another great point about Tillman was, when a friend of yours gets fired or a good friend, send him a note, because nobody ever does. He goes, everybody said, you do, Darren. We all do. Hey, congratulations on that job. I texted Mike Benavides the other day about being hired as the new special teams coordinator with the BC Lions. And he wrote me back. Benny's a great guy. It's easy to do that. Send the message when they get fired, because nobody else is.
Yeah.
Because I've been fired too. So, Eric Tillman, an absolute fountain of wisdom and advice for stuff like that. I wanted to say something too. We were going so fast in the warm-up.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on this. It's not a settle a tie situation, but it's just these wonderful conversations that I have with a golden girl, Serena, and I have the best people around me, I think, advising me in these things. And I just said, everybody's bitching about the CFL and the website, and you can't get the box scores. And I just said, I don't want to be that guy banging on the CFL every day. And the Ryan Whitney thing came up, where he was crapping all over the Panthers or the NHL, or whoever it was, for moving the Stanley Cup patch over so they could put an ad on.
Yeah.
And then he was bitching that ESPN doesn't care about the NHL. And I was like, to me, that's so off-putting. I don't want to be that guy. And she said, well, that's their thing. That's his thing. It's to bitch, and it causes a reaction. And what do you think about that? Is he in the right, or clearly he has no regrets about it?
Yeah, that's the MO, right? I mean, part of it is putting out content that's going to draw a reaction. And it's not fake. It's not,
Yeah.
cheap and cheesy, I don't think, because it's what he does, right? And then there's other guys, I think, that come on the show and stuff on their show and take a little bit more of a positive approach, but they just let it fly and debate that stuff. And I think that's cool. I think it's cool that we don't do that or try not to do that. I mean, I don't want to sit here and crap on anybody and go down that road. I think we more articulately analyze or critique, different leagues and different decisions and stuff like that, and don't just outright crap all over it. And that's our thing. I think if we all did the same thing, life would be boring. So they can do theirs, we'll do ours.
Well, it's like most of the media is like that.
Yeah.
And for the last couple of years, I've paid these advisors handsomely to advise me. And they started saying, like 2 years ago, be this change. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they said, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to realize what that is. It's stop bitching, go along to get along. And I'm not sure I have the energy in me for the next 28 days of what will be Pride Month to listen to the bitching. I haven't seen any yet.
Good.
I haven't seen any yet,
Good.
but I see the teams coming forth with their rainbow logos and so forth. And I'm just like, I don't think I have it in me. Are we not over this, the fighting? Because it's Pride Month. Away we go.
And I don't think anybody should get it confused. This isn't like, I wish it wasn't Pride Month. Stop doing your logos and things like that. No. This is important. And I'm excited for that. And it's really great. And I think it's important. I think the bitching comes from the other side. And, we're going to get to a moment in time where we're going to have the Pride Months and we're going to have these special things, and there won't be bitching from the other side because there's more acceptance. That's where we all want to get to. So we'll find out where we're at over the next 28 days. But no, I think this is a very important period of the year. I think it's very important, and I think we all need to have a little acceptance and a little bit of you do you. If I don't agree with it, if you don't agree with it, that's fine. Just leave it alone. You know?
Yeah. One more from Arlen Bruce. He says, I love signing autographs. I actually signed over 50 kids' backpacks and notebooks and water bottles 3 days ago. Soon I'll be having a football clinic in Edmonton for kids. I'll keep you posted. Thanks, AB. He's always been a man of the people. Moose, a wonderful week of shows, DuPont Media Production. Thanks for all you did to get us on the air. People really enjoyed it. I know it because they told me. And you have a great weekend and stay safe.
I will. You as well. And yeah, awesome. I appreciate everybody, all the support tuning in, and we'll see you on Monday.
Monday, noon Eastern, back on television, Game Plus, here on WQEE, podcast and streaming.